So it is now Saturday morning. It's about 11:25, really 12:25, but there's a time change involved getting from Orlando to Panama City. And we've been on the road for 4.5 to 5 hours, driving through the night and the fog and the mist and the morning to get where we are now, which is pulling up to parts unknown here in Panama City for my friend Jamie Smith at the place that he has where he is producing the hardtop convertible tops for Mustangs. So we'll be pulling up here in a minute, and it's going to be a pretty exciting day. Let's get started. Hello.
How's it going?
I'm good. Jamie?
Yep,
I'm Nick. How you doing, buddy?
doing good.
This is my son Shane on camera.
How's it going?
All right, so tell me a little bit about what we're looking at here.
All right, so this is how I sell them.
Okay.
And I'll just walk around and show you a couple different things. So I include this stuff with it, and the reason for it is just easier. These things are not expensive, and it's easier for me to collect this stuff than to give you a list and then you're running to Home Depot or Lowe's.
Sure.
They're out of it for whatever reason.
Right.
And I gave you one barcode and you don't know if something else will work or not. So
right.
So this right here is going to be the header. So, and the reason for this is because this is all finished fiberglass underneath here.
Uh-huh.
And then it's going to take a fender clip that we'll actually use to
the J clip?
Exactly.
Okay.
And what this will end up doing, we'll have to shave these down. It's not going to fit perfect.
Sure.
But this will go up here above that. And then this can either be riveted in or you can just use screws that'll go up in the pilot hole. Got it. And this is also included. So we got our fender bolt here. What you're going to end up doing is you're going to, after it's fitted to your car, you're going to just set this up and you'll be able to see the guide pin hole. You're going to see the guide pin hole through your... Lauren, you want to grab your puppy?
Oh yeah, fine.
So that you're going to be able to see the guide pin hole through your visor mount. And I just take a black magic marker and I just go up and just put a little dot on there, dot on the other side, then drill that hole big enough that you'll be able to get the 5/16 by 18 count thread through there, and then this will just clip on and lock right into that hole. Okay. Actually the other way. But the whole reason for that is we want it, it's not going to be a direct 90 degree angle right there. It is going to be off just a little bit. And the nice thing about these, got a little flex to it. Get it started, yeah, you get a little bit of flex to it, a little bit of movement. And then these are easily replaceable if you ever do strip it versus if we try to hard mount something. Sure. Then you have to replace the whole thing. So you can pop them off and pop them back on. Okay. Anytime you want. So I'm going to leave.
So there'll be the two mounting points essentially replicating the mounting points on the original top as far as the sides.
You're exactly right.
Okay.
And then for the rear mount, and I've had customers do a couple different things, but nothing that I could really come up with.
So that looks like a sun visor shade bracket.
That's exactly what it is.
Okay.
So this is just threaded. So this is a 5/16 by 18 thread. Same thread as the front there. And the reason we use this is because it's going to stick up behind the rear seat, and it's going to stick up probably about 2.5 inches. And we didn't want a fixed stud back there. If you got kids or somebody waving their hands around, I don't want anybody to kind of get caught on that. Sure. It's not super sharp, but you know, kids find stuff to get hurt on. So the whole point of using this is when you have the roof off and you can just fold this down and it's out of way.
I understand. Okay.
It is a little bit tricky to get mounted because the rear frame of the seat, it is at a little bit of an angle, and you can see even this has a little bit of an angle.
So you're talking about the back section or the front section?
The back section.
The back section, okay.
So this is the heavy-duty rear seat frame, not the soft, wiry seat frame.
Gotcha.
So this will need to be shimmed just a little bit to get it to
the right angle. Okay.
Exactly. And I do like to put these, I think they're typically right about here where they stick out. And the reason for that, I just like it to be closer to the edge. In theory, if you had one here and one here, you're still going to have flexation right there. But when it's closer to this edge, there's just, you know, less flex from where it's actually sitting on the car to where this is tightened down. And you might think that that's not all that much to really tighten this down, but kind of the beauty of it is these wings they're not beautiful, but these pretty much go on right on over top of your chrome convertible well molding, and so it doesn't snap on, but it hugs it just like a Tupperware lid. So there's not going to be any movement going side to side. All that's really doing is preventing this from being able to pop up.
Okay.
And it locks it in from going rear as well.
Okay, and you've not had any concerns as far as front end movement or popping or anything of that? It's all stayed pretty solid, huh?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, and this stays, and I can show you on that one up there.
Sure.
This is pretty flush with the chrome header.
Okay.
The convertible mount. Like there's no area to get wind in.
To get underneath it.
And I can show you that.
Yeah, let's see that.
Yeah, I was hoping to do this tomorrow, and I thought I was going to have a couple days, and I was going to be like, oh, I'll get this all clean.
Oh, it's fine.
So on this particular model, this is a little bit further back. When you set it on your car, it should be probably about center.
Okay.
But these cars are all different. I've had them sit way far back. Like this is further back than I would ever, trim this down for.
Sure.
But just like this one's way far back, I've had other ones that come out to about here, and you actually have to trim that back, so it gets in a good spot on.
Right.
And it all depends if it's ever had an accident. These things can bolt on in so many different angles and everything. You can see this actually sticks out that far. It probably needs to go down a little.
I see it.
So it all depends on how that's mounted. And this is adjustable a little bit. You can bring this up or bring this down just a little. There is a lot of margin for adjustment with this.
Okay, and so you're saying the optimal is halfway?
You're right. That would be ideal.
As far as the coverage, and that doesn't affect how it's molded on the inside. It only really affects this top piece for the trim.
Yep.
So to basically try to match this curve around if it doesn't already.
Right.
Okay, I gotcha.
And then this is coupe, so this is not a convertible. So I added this convertible molding to it.
Right.
So there might be additional metal that I still need to shave off. That
Sure.
To sit a little bit better.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. It's a very good understanding of exactly what we got going on there.
Then I'll walk you around just some other things. When we ship these, you can see this grip rail is really long. And we typically ship them like that when they're in a crate because we sit them up sideways, and we use this to kind of strap onto.
Got it.
But this will get trimmed down, and same thing like on your trailer. Like if we've got some ratchet straps that go over, if they're on that and it causes a little tiny crack or anything, it doesn't matter. You're going to trim.
It's sacrificial, anyways.
Exactly.
Got it.
And the same thing with the rest. This is all going to be a little bit longer than it needs to be. So if you get home and you notice there's a chip like right here,
right.
You don't necessarily need to fix that right now.
Okay.
Get it fit to your car, and then if it's still a chip right there, then fix that at that time.
Gotcha. So because I've never done any type of body work or anything with fiberglass, what are some general things to be aware of for sealing and?
Yeah, you're going to treat this just like it's first stage of primer.
Okay.
So the whole thing is going to need to be sanded. And with this version, what I usually do, I'll sand it with probably, and the gel coat's pretty thick on there. I would probably sand it with like 120 grit, and then just kind of take a look at it. You're going to see if there's minor high and low spots. and you can come in and do your filler at that time.
Sure.
And then, you know, you can do, in the end, it's all about how perfect you want it. You know, I got some clients that are building, you know, $200,000 cars, and you can't build a $200,000 car and have a low spot right here,
sure,
right there.
Right.
So it's going to take them a little bit longer. I've had other clients that have literally sanded this in its current form and just painted it without doing body work.
I will tell you that my concept for this, I mean, I've told you, is that because Ford designed white and black hardtops for Thunderbirds in the 50s, what I want to do is replicate that same look, a completely contrasting, all stark bright white on a Caspian blue, dark blue car. So I think the benefit of that is, number one, it has the same feel for what would have been developed had they continued that. It also, I think, if it's going to be white, it doesn't have to be high gloss, super deep, clear coat. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for a direct contrast. So if I go more flat, I think that'll be a little more forgiving for what you're saying and still give the look of what you're seeing right now. That's my concept of what I'm looking for.
That'll be cool.
Yeah. So.
And then, so we do the body work that we do. We'll pull it out of the mold, and you know, there's sometimes that it'll stick. I know this one was a pretty good one. I saved this one specifically for you.
Appreciate that.
But every once in a while, something will stick. You know, it'll get too much wax or not enough wax, and you know, it'll pull away, and there will be a chip. And we do fix that. We just fill it back, or use the gel coat just to kind of fill in that gap, and we'll sand it down just a little bit. But what I don't do is, you can see where I joined this, the louvers to the body together, and you can see how it's kind of rough around here.
Sure.
What I don't want to do is, I don't want to sand this and get it pretty good, and then you go back in and sand it again, because what we're going to do is we're going to take off you know, way more gel coat than we need to.
Right. Okay.
So you're gonna have to sand it anyways, so it's just gonna be better for one person to sand and know what they're doing, or know what they've sanded and not sanded.
Sure.
Then, or either that, or you look at it and you're like, oh, he did that whole section, you know, like.
Sure.
So that's why I just kind of leave it like that.
So I know that you've had one customer take actual louver grates and integrate them into the sides.
Yes.
Had you ever had anybody take the entire outside louver and integrate it?
No, and I wouldn't. I mean, it's possible, but the thing to take into consideration is the purpose of the kind of like what you're talking about, doing the whole thing. This is still going to be enclosed back here.
Right.
So you would have to modify this to be able to, and it's possible. It's just going to be a lot of work. You're going to have to modify that to be able to get to the back, so you can do, you know, use them as a functional louver.
Right.
You're going to open and close them, and that's going to be a lot of work.
Right.
There.
I know that the functionality is way more levels of complication than just the outside look.
Yeah.
I do own a pair of the outside louvers, intact survivor pieces. So I asked that just simply because it just creates a more authentic look on the outside. So
it's a good idea.
So they're sitting on a shelf. It may be a down the road 2-year project when someone's an expert.
I have a guy, he contacted me yesterday. He wants a set of these so he can make them out of
laser cut
expanded metal. Yep. So these will be metal. So
the louvers, just the louvers.
Correct. So I'm going to send him a set, and then he's going to try to laser cut them so they will actually be functional. And so I sent it to him and just told him, remember us whenever you get your final product.
Sure.
So.
Absolutely.
And want to flip this over. This side will go back here. And these are, I mean, we're not dragging it across the ground or anything, but I mean, it's all marine grade fiberglass. So they're resilient. And now you can kind of see on the inside.
Sure.
So these louvers and the scoops, they're all fiberglass from the inside as well. So this does add a lot of structural integrity to this edge instead of, you know, just being a flat panel.
Sure.
That's something else to take into consideration. So like when I cut this out right here, this, I can move this, you know, with my hand without too much effort, and it'll just move this like section right here. Like when I do move it, and it's got a little flex to it, but you can see it's trying to move like this flat spot up here.
Sure.
And not really anything back there.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay, maybe I'll just send them to you, and then you can kind of experiment. And when you perfect it, I'll just get one of yours then.
Right.
Because I certainly don't want to ruin what you've already put together, trying to sort that out.
After learning the process from him, he's really got I've bounced, I don't know how many ideas off him. He's really got this nailed down to a science, to where the structural integrity is there. It doesn't really move. You don't have to worry about it breaking or chipping, and he's really got it down to a science. So it's a great product, I think.
Okay, I'm super excited. All right, so let's now, obviously we got to figure out how to strap it down to this trailer over here. And you said you have wood and scraps and stuff like that. All right, so we'll work on that now.
Okay.
And so this is the process of getting it home safely and not having it fly up into the sky on the way home. So So, 2 years later, a couple thousands of dollars later, a harrowing drive in the fog, in the dark, this morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, 5.5 hours driving from Orlando to Panama City, strapping, customizing, and installing a way to fit this to a trailer. The roof is ready for its ride home. We're going to go get something to eat and then come back in the morning and pick this up and take it back home. Let's get started.
Watch the 1,200 watch the things up there. Don't get that. There you go. Now it's scratching. Or breaking. Dropping. Hold on. Oh, please. No rush. No rush, relax. Relax. All done. Super drive. Alright, finish. You gotta go to your okay. Come on, yeah. Yeah, it's right now. It's resting. Oh. Get out of the rain. That was easy. Just like that. Just do it like that.